Hello and welcome to the Happily Ever After Summit. I am your host, LaToya J.R. And today you're going to be learning how to co-create a marriage filled with love, intimacy, and adventure. Today we have a really, really great expert, Willow Brown, and I'm just super excited. I don't know if you guys can feel her energy through the video, but it's just super relaxing, so I need you to get ready for this. Won't you tell everybody who you are and what it is that you do?
Hi, everybody. I'm Willow Brown. I'm a Chinese medicine doctor and functional medicine expert. And so I bring those modalities together along with many other modalities that I've incorporated over the years to Taoist sexology. So I teach Taoist sexology in a way that is extremely holistic and goes from the spiritual, emotional side of things, of sexuality, to the actual physical side of things, like are your hormones functioning? Because that's a part of the equation as well. So both sides of the spectrum are all what I'm really fascinated about. And I'm so grateful to be on this summit. Thanks for inviting me, LaToya, because I absolutely love talking about men and women and relationship, and even like same-sex relationships. There's always a yang presence and there's always a yin presence to every relationship and to every situation. And even within ourselves, our relationship to ourselves, there's a yin and a yang, a masculine and a feminine. So I love talking about that. It's just like a big joy for me. So I'm happy to be here.
Yay, I'm super excited. Okay, the first question is kind of serious. What does relationship readiness mean to you?
I would say it's really an internal feeling when you feel ready for a relationship. It's coming from a place of feeling really centered, really grounded, having your sort of internal ducks in a row and having that be able to be reflected in your external life. So when things are balanced and aligned internally, then that will reflect in what's going on in your outer environment. And I would say that once those two are mirroring each other, then you're really ready to, then as a woman, you're standing in your inner goddess and you're ready to meet your outer god, and vice versa for men. They're standing in that inner strong masculine energy and they're ready to meet that strong feminine energy, so that when you come together with another person who has all their own stuff, right, that it's a cooperative relationship, mutual support, leaning into each other. And that's how you can avoid those relationships where one person is taking, and one person is giving. And those sort of relationships that can, continue to create the patterns that are not healthy for you emotionally and spiritually, but also physically.
I love that. So what I'm getting from that is be centered within yourself and kind of know yourself before you have that relationship. Be ready within yourself for the relationship. Did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the second question is, what or how do couples keep the sex good in their marriage?
Such a good question. I love this question because, I've been in long-term relationships, multiple long-term relationships, and my parents have been married almost 40 years, and my grandparents, they did it, I think, 60 years. So I come from like a long line of long-term relationships. And even like if it's only been 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, that's still a long time to be with one person, and one way to really keep the sex fresh is to change things up really on the regular, always changing what you're doing, and it doesn't even have to be within the sexual realm, but rather like when you're floating around the house together, it's like just say the word change and then the other person does something totally different, and it's an opportunity to get creative as well. Mm-hmm. And playful, because we can get so bogged down with life and bills and kids and this and that and the things that we need to do, that we forget to be playful. We forget that we're actually at our essence, we're really children still, and to just get more exploratory. Mm-hmm. And then also to really be able to ask for what you want sexually. I think that's a tricky one for a lot of women probably, and I think also men, because men might want something but they don't want their woman to think that they are, you know, a certain type of man or a certain way or whatever. And so you know, there are ways that you can ask for what you want sexually, and I would always recommend expressing your sexual needs outside of the actual sexual experience. So while you're not in it, because while you're in it, things are heated, emotions are raw, like, you know, you don't want to be like, hey, do it this way instead, because that's going to be wounding for the other person. But rather when you're, you know, outside of that sexual experience, maybe having a walk or having a dinner, hey, I love the way, and always put it in a positive sandwich, you know, hey, I love the way you know, whatever. I love the way you kiss me, or I love the way you touch me, but, and I would also love if you did this other thing. I think I would get really turned on by that. Even just talking about it turns me on. And I love the way you're so supportive and amazing, you know, something like that.
I love the positive sandwich.
Yes. Don't forget the positive sandwich.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, my next question is, what is the number one thing couples can do to increase the passion? So we know like the sex is different, but I feel like the passion is more about like intimacy and having like those things be really, really juicy. How do we increase that in our marriages?
Yeah, the one word that's really coming up for me is connection. So, and as women, we women really want connection. That's going to increase libido, that's going to increase drive, that's going to increase creativity sexually, is if we feel connected and like we can trust our partners, whether they're male or female. We need that deep sense of trust and connection. Like you really get me. We're on the same page. I don't have to explain myself too much. Like you understand me, under deep understanding for a woman. And for a man, it might be more around respect and being honored and being sort of seen as my hero, you know. Men really have a different language for I think what brings them to connection than what we have for it to, but it is the same thing, you know, to just be on the same page with each other.
Needing that connection. I do see that. And I feel like sometimes people miss those connective pieces. It's like sex, intimacy, passion, communication, but connection kind of is like the bloodline through all of those things. You kind of just yearn for it. Okay, I'm going to sneak in one more question. Okay. How important is self-love in any relationship?
I mean, that's a good question, you know, and that's a question that I would encourage each of you who are listening to ask yourself. How important is self-love? And do some reflective writing on that. That's going to be a different answer for every person. I, of course, think self-love is the key to having a happy and healthy life, 100%. I love myself more than I love anyone in the world. And I have a great relationship with my partner, a great relationship with my family, but it's like, I take myself as a priority, you know, and I take really good care of myself. And if I catch myself talking to myself in my head, like, oh, you're not enough, you're not this, what the hell do you think you're doing? You know, then I stop myself immediately. And I always think like, okay, I think of a close friend, like my best friend, what would she say to me? You know, and it's always the opposite of what I'm saying to me. So I change that thought pattern. And that's a really great form of self-love. And I think, you know, one thing too, along those lines is we get really caught up in what we have. So I might get caught up in like my life and like what I have and what I don't have and what my relationship is doing and what it's not doing and what my health is doing and what it's not doing for me and my money and, you know, all these different sectors of our lives. But when we take the focus off of ourselves and we put it on to someone else, that's also an incredible form of self-love. In fact, like, doing something for yourself in honor of that person who's not able to do that for themselves. Then you're doing it in this very Buddhist type of manner, you know, where it's like, I'm going to get myself a massage because, I really deserve it. And that's a great form of self-love. And even though there's this voice in my head that's saying, you don't deserve a massage, you don't have the money for a massage, da, 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 I'm going to think of my best friend who I know can't do that, really can't do it. And I'm going to do it in honor of her, right? Like send her the love that I'm receiving from that form of self-love. And just, send her all of that love. And what that does is it just creates an upward spiral for you and your life. And you'll also see their life change as well. So
I love that. Self-love and helping others at the same time. You can't go wrong with that. So I know that you have a free gift for our audience, and I just wanted you to just tell them a little bit about it. And everybody, the link is going to be below. Before she even speaks on it, make sure you get it because
Oh, thanks, LaToya. So the free gift I'd like to offer everyone, it's a sensuality for the soul. It's sort of an online class, sensuality for the soul. And in that free class, you're just going to learn so much. There's a lot of visuals as well. And you're going to learn a lot about the way that I work in terms of the moon cycles. So all of what I teach is in correspondence with the seasons of nature, which correspond with the 4 phases of the moon. And there's really a lifeline in there. I mean, we all have a moon cycle. We're all made up of water. So we're all pulled by the energy of the moon. So all of that is in that probably 45 or an hour a minute webinar. So I highly recommend you check it out and just learn more. Just knowledge is power. So educate yourself. And thank you, LaToya, for putting this together and having me on here.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Again, I want to let you guys know you definitely want to get that. I'm going to get it. I'm always filling my cup up with information because I feel like it can just help me and help my relationship have that happy, long-lasting marriage that I really want and really life. Okay, so welcome. Thank you guys for coming today and much love.
Thank you.